which not a lot of players have ever done. You know, it's very difficult winning a trophy. Done that. So the pressure is always going to be in the bigger team. That's why I always view it. The big teams need to go out and beat the little teams. Plain and simple. So I don't want to say I don't care about NZ, but I'm more interested in Liquid's performance today.
Well, will Liquid be able to push this one over the edge? Obviously, they are sort of sitting on the precipice, as it was put. They're only a game shy of confirming themselves in towards the playoff spot, in towards the top 6, and being quite confident with it. They were ending in the sort of stage last time, and as it was said, last stage, the first stage, the 7-5 win they got was a decent fight from 9Z. But otherwise, we'll see if it's something that I guess grows in towards it here, if 9Z can grow into anything, because they've only been able to get a 5-7. That was their best performance this whole split demo, and it was on that opening play day, and since then 5 rounds feels like a dream in a game.
10 seconds to go.
Oh, here we go, Lair. Now, obviously, 9Z on the defense. That's good. Straight away, that's good for them. They get on the preferred side of Lair. Liquid have to go at it on the attack, first of all. Now, Liquid, I don't think, really mind the fact that they have to start attack. I think they'll have a good game plan going forward for it. I think Lair has been shown a lot, certainly inside of SAL. It has been shown, I think, just across all the regions in general. Lair has been, you know, the pick rate in this map is a lot more than what it was even last stage. You know, that is kind of how you go with the map. It was last out into the pool. Eventually, they will just become a foothold and just a staple in the pool. And certainly, I think Lair is there at the moment. So plenty of ways that teams want to play it out. That's a nice little pick. Drone work being done correctly. Freebie for Diaz. Will, none the wiser. And now we sit at a position where already 9Z, minute gone, lost the player. Oh dear.
At this point now, they're seeing if they can try and get themselves some control. They're rebuilding up towards Ops. Just trying to force at least some of this semblance of control. You assume the Goyo's been able to get their canisters down, get themselves some lock in there. But otherwise, at this point, there still needs to be that pressure, that approach here from Liquid. An opening statistic isn't the be-all and end-all as we had from ENX team last time round. Close pings and a close fight. How curious are you about this next engagement? There's some pressure and support coming from underneath. There's some confidence that they can go a bit wider and wider here, and they're still sort of happy, Liquid, to set themselves in. I'm not going to say it's an entirely out their hold, but now they've missed the player that slipped their way up, and the Azami is an easy pick up there for Nask. Not sure how confident Vincente thought they were in that situation, but it has otherwise been a punished demo. A minute, and there's at least one back, as they get some control back on towards the rocket stairs and the walkway. But as Lender finds Tuku, as they start to eye themselves onto towards a plant position with 50 seconds, Nitro either has to try and step in and rebuff them, or they're just going to hope that the remaining 3 smoke canisters will be enough.
I know, it feels though that 9Z, they've gave away just kind of cheap kills. You know, kills that didn't need to happen. They just kind of swung into Liquid players, and it hasn't worked out for them. And now it puts kind of remaining 2 in a very difficult position. Nitro, with a Nitro in hand, toss it out, but catches no one. I don't think they have an idea yet that Zhao's there. Oh, how has he appeared for 2? And no teams just stood on the door frame. Now Nitro has the clutch. 10 seconds left. 1v2. Dafo has the kit in hand. Are they going to play for the plant? Play for the kill? Oh, it's going to be a kill for Diaz. Cleans it up in the end. A little bit shaky there for Liquid, but still able to maintain the course.
Well, that's one. That's one on their journey, and at this point, it's always that idea of how much does one feel when you are 9Z, right? They have been against the grain the entire time. There is nothing for them to really play for anymore. Their fate has been sealed across both this stage and what you can get from this stage, and then the last stage and what you can get from the whole year. That's a story set. But now they have that to not worry about, right? They have a bit of freedom. They have a bit of confidence. The follow through after this game with Liquid is ENX, is now that other team that's sort of situated at the bottom of the board and could be somebody you can battle against and have some possibility of maybe even beating. You might even get 6 points. You probably won't leapfrog them in the grand scheme of things. I think there would have to be some huge results to go that way. But otherwise, the progression will go from it. Now though, in towards the next round, and in towards the progression here from Liquid. The thing about Liquid's performance as well, that they could have really cemented themselves yesterday, I think, statistically, with the game that they clawed their way back in towards OT and then eventually lost it.
I don't know if you noticed as well, Amy, just the reactions of Liquid whenever they won that last round. It looked very pleasant for a team that won a round. Not because they know that it wasn't clean, especially the position that they are whenever 9Z were just giving away kills for free, and the fact that you almost kind of bottle that. Oh, Liquid, I think the thing with Liquid, and it has been really for the past, especially this year, you know, look at stage 1 into this stage, the amount of pressure that this team is under is incredible, and I don't really know why. These players have such, I think, a high expectation for themselves whenever I don't think Liquid has really been at the high expectations for the past 2 years. So I don't know why they put so much stress on themselves, and I think that has been their biggest enemy. It's just they worry so much about losing the game that they almost will it into existence. That is, for me, has been the Liquid issue for the past year. They need to chill out, I think, a lot of the time.
They need to spend a day in the demo spa, get your heads back on. And we talk about this site and the approach that you can try and make here, and how doing it without verticality is often just sort of suicide. You're not really going to be able to get yourself in confidently and get a plant in and get yourself locked in. But, well, Liquid against 9Z might be able to make that happen. The roll of the light walls will cover themselves on towards the chance at a corner. It's being well watched, and there's the first. Tuku gets the lock in towards Nesk, and the plant is going down. Will there be a response? Seemingly no. There's at least a down on the cover player, but it's a post-plant situation, and now they can sort of watch it from outside the breach. They're gonna have to try and swing their way out from the office door. They obviously don't have the verticality.
Oh my
Somehow
goodness.
They almost got the player up there, but Maya does get locked in. DS is watching one approach, Nitro gets another, and this is the other reason why you don't really do this without getting the full coverage. There's the down onto one. There is, too little, too
didn't have it reloaded.
late. Just a lost round. The keeper as well. You can see they put a keeper up there in that tuck position at the end. I mean, I said it's suicide. You're just throwing a point away.
Didn't have it reloaded, the firebolt. Or not necessarily reloaded. He had it on the smoke. Does he not know you can change that without having to pull out the crossbow? Does he know that? I don't think he does.
Does he know?
I don't think so. No.
I mean, I
get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from, where you maybe would like to kind of to do a little bit more. Still think that was fine. Getting the diffuser round is always the toughest bit in that bomb site. And yes, a lot of the teams will try and go above or do something above. They went for the sense approach, which did work. They got the plant down. But even in like a 2v5, that's still winnable, especially whenever one of the operators was Capitao. You know, that was the main thing to look at, was you had an operator who could deny the plant for a good 10 seconds there. And then he even made, I'm pretty sure he had another one as well, so he could have denied it for even longer. So I think there was definitely an element where they could have got that round. He just didn't have the correct utility in his hand, just one little slip up. Just to kind of pull us away from the game almost and just kind of focus in on Liquid. And the comparison I kind of want to make with Liquid is, obviously you look at them inside of last stage, and you know, we kind of looked at Liquid and we said, oh, you know, look at the changes that they made. Obviously they went for kind of, I don't want to say imports, because obviously Diaz, he is Brazilian, but obviously we've seen him in NA for a very long time. Obviously we've seen resets in there. Ask came back to the roster for, again, it's kind of re-pick up. But inevitably the team was just, again, in my opinion, under the same kind of stress levels again. And they went into playoffs and they didn't win any games inside of playoffs apart from that 5th game match, which again didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. I think Liquid probably should have took a page almost out of M80's book, where I think Fabian put it really, really well in the interview that he did. I think was it on Friday or for whatever day it was. Fabian did an interview with the M80 game. Fabian basically said that at the first stage, the players put so much pressure on themselves, and Fabian didn't really understand why. They're a new team with new players. Obviously, there's still a core there of the M80 team, but you're getting new transfers in. You've got a new coach in. A lot of that stuff's going to take time. And I think the same is very similar for Liquid. I think the players put so much pressure under themselves. Where are they? Part-timers, I think we call that.
Part-timers! Reveal!
Part-timers!
What are the analysts doing? Nothing!
That's why we're here, because we don't stop. We don't leave. My legs, which you don't even know if I have legs. You don't see my bottom half.
I whole desk. I listened to everything they said.
I don't leave this desk, but they do.
I love it.
So,
Enjoy
anyway, back to the point. The players put so much pressure on themselves, and I just don't think they needed to. Yeah. I think in stage 1, if they went the approach where they just wanted to basically build fundamentals, it would have been fine. But I feel as though they just went head first into it, you know? And I think if they just kind of went the same approach to what M80 did, this stage for Liquid could have been a heck of a lot different, you know? It's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And especially whenever typically the second stage and into the major, into your regional finals, this is the more important half of the year compared to stage 1. Because stage 2 is where we're going to start qualifying teams into SI, which is inevitably where every team wants to be. So, and Liquid are basically in the same position as they were last stage. Very inconsistent. Gets wins, yes, but the next week can go out and lose. For a team who wants to go into playoffs, you need to have that consistent factor because you're playing constant best of threes one after another. And if you have just one inconsistent one-off day, you're out. Goodbye. Job's done. So Liquid just need to kind of get themselves into the spa, like you mentioned. Just get the stress out of them.
I can't remember if this was fully divulged or if it's fully been maths, because you know what, Demo? Things I hate in the world? Maths. Theoretically, I think if Liquid win or win no T, and even if they get a win full stop, they progress. They get the 2 points, puts them up towards, 13 points. Technically, Black Dragons could get 6 points and get themselves up towards that point as well. But even if they got 2 7-0 wins, I don't think they can catch up on round difference, which I believe is the first tiebreaker. So I think Team Liquid just need the 2 points to secure themselves in towards the top 2 here.
10 seconds to insertion.
At this point, it's still early. They are still their own worst enemies. Obviously, we're back into the game now, if you haven't noticed that.
Attackers are moving.
We will see if Team Liquid can get over the idea of being their first thing, being their first problem. Yes, thank you, Anne. Anne immediately hit me with the round difference. So even though we saw that they weren't there, they are listening to her. Anne could have been there, actually, because I think her camera was off.
She's also very small, so she could be hid. She could be hid. She could be hid behind the camera. We don't know.
There's also the possibility that that didn't go on broadcast and was just on our feeds, and people don't know what we're reacting to.
Yep.
We
see people.
We saw Lynx eating, and we saw a brief idea of what the analysts were up to, which was hiding.
Yep.
Liquid get themselves now the other chance at an approach. It's been traded entries either side, traded routes in either side, but new site, new place, new dis. Obviously, it came down to what was ostensibly a plant and a retake. It will have back and forth and arguments about if I think they did enough or if they didn't, but truth be told, historically they didn't.
Oh, good night. Wow. Landa. Pre-fired. trying to use the smoke to get himself across that corridor, but again, you make a lot of noise. It's very easy just to go for a shot. Trade, though. Blaz makes an appearance. Able to take down the Goyo. But at the moment for Liquid, just struggling with this mid-floor clear at the moment. Don't forget, we are dealing with our basement bomb site. But 9Z, they're digging their heels in Emmy. They're not going to give this up for free.
No, but they lose another body there as the trade out, and there's Defo getting one more. Tuku's gone, leaving it in a 4 versus 2. They're still holding on towards the top of the stairs because at this point, what else can you do, right? You can sort of funnel a firefight and maybe get one before you drift back to the site. But if you go back to the site, well, then they've got a minute to just put the pressure on towards the 2 remaining players. At some point, the pressure will get too much. The vertical will come through, so they do slip their way back in. But you can still see they're sort of desperately looking towards that chance at slowing them down, to stopping them and holding off on this approach. Now, 45 seconds and a hatch still being just stopped by a Kaid that's desperate to defend themselves. In 2 slightly tucked positions, Liquid, the pressure is still on them. Ooh, and they almost have a bit of a drift fight here. And towards Zhao, does get one with the phase. Dafo is removed from the board. They're looking for the second follow through. Suddenly that minute I said they could work with is only 20 seconds, but they do finally get the end of another player, leaving just the Kaid. 1 and a tucked rotate round. He can try and play this as soon as they go for the plant. There's a second! What did they expect? It surely wasn't that Nesk. Do or die plant situation. He's going to stick it on the far side and will. Oh, he's sort of given the game away here. Nesk can peel himself away if he can. Gets himself vertical. Instead, he's actually going to play this close on the swing, but that is a great gun. And the hands here of Will, waiting, hoping, holding out, but time only works into the favor of Nesk! Liquid, sometimes their own worst enemy, but that round gets to go in the friend column.
That was a really good decision from Nesk. Yeah, a lot of teams, a lot of players, whenever that kind of happens, 10 seconds left, you went for the defuse, diffuser carrier goes down into the 1v1. Teams will just try and play for the kill. Nesk did the very smart thing. He walks in, he immediately replants. Yes, it is a massive risk because who's to say that Cade could have went for a double swing and just killed Nesk as he was going for the plant. But naturally, the Cade's going to be thinking, that guy's going to be charging me down now. You know, he knows that all he has to do is kill me and he's going to win that round. So I'm going to run away. And then while you run away, you create that massive gap where the diffuser can be planted. Nesk did that, gets himself set up in a very good pause, knows that he's going to have to come to him to get that diffuser, and easy cleanup for Nesk.
Liquid now, though as late as it is, the rounds that they're getting themselves cemented in have been theirs. It steps in the right direction. You're looking at, I guess statistically, everything's starting to go into the favor. 9Z haven't been great. I think there's not really to be argued, fine. But they have been worse on their attack. Over the 34 rounds played, it's 6 that have gone in towards their favor. So you're looking at this map on the second half, and you're looking at all of these rounds slipping away from them on what is technically their better half, and yet still, statistically, they are the worst defenders in their region. But the divide and the difference is, you know, they're 2% worse than ENX. That's 2 rounds, 3 rounds difference. They are worse than half the follow through on towards the next. 17 to 38% is the follow through on the next worst attacking team. It truly has been their weaker point, and that is that worry. It doesn't matter how shaky Liquid are if they're still confirming these rounds. The second half is that threat, is that breeze, is that moment where Liquid have done that groundwork. The 2 that they've got already might already statistically be enough. And we're 3 rounds in.
And I think there'll be more attack wins to come as well. 9Z, as much as what you said, yes, attack has been where they massively struggle. I mean, their defensive stats are looking too hot either, Emmy, to be honest with you. It just has not been a good season from 9Z. And I thought 9Z, you know, stage 1, you know, equally didn't do as well, but I still think they had moments. We just haven't had any moments this stage from 9Z, which has been a big disappointing. We would have thought that, you know, the team would have improved since last stage, but they've almost went backwards, I would say. But still, go out there and have fun, as Fox said. Even though the doesn't, you know, he is described them very graphically at times. He actually gives me a run for money. Maybe I need to up the ante. Do I have to go and say something now?
I was gonna say, I sort of, but you have to say it like he says it, because he like aura forms when he talks.
I only save those comments for G2. That's whenever my vulgar tongue really comes out.
That's true. Win or lose. It's because they know you. You're in the fan club. You're like Arsenal fan TV.
I am the fan club.
Well, one body gone. It's the Deimos. They can't quite do the damage from underneath, but with a minute left and some steady approaching across the front here, can Liquid still try and find a landing, or instead about to get themselves a second lined up? They're being very aggressive here on towards those main stairs, threading their way in and just trying to refuse every bit of
Crazy
approach.
swing.
But there's one body, and there's Nitro getting one right back and another. Tacked on for the tally. Daffo does get Nitro. It's back and forth, but it's now just Maya left. Talk about how much of a star player he is. He's in a 1 versus 3 with 30 seconds as Glaz. It's not the easiest to swing your way around, and they're ready to swing with a shotgun. Seize the barrel. Could try and apply some pressure here, but taking the first bit of damage. Does get one. One within 10 seconds. 2 more to find. 20 seconds left. Gets the kit back. But look at the health here, Demo. It takes a breeze. You get him with the pocket C4. Oh, pocket. Oh. Barbed wire even. Trying to make a joke, but the round ended during that period, so I messed it up. I'm sorry.
Maybe stand up isn't for you.
No. I don't know which talent I would want to see do stand up.
Oh, I've always said Ollie's the king of the one-liners. I've always said that.
Would you go to an Ollie stand-up show?
I would.
Okay. What do you think? A lot about nature and gardens. Is he a bird watcher? Feels like one. Anyway, Liquid...
no, he's a lumberjack.
Lumberjack, that's right. Liquid with a timeout.
Tree surgeon, I believe.
Doesn't have a doctorate.
Yeah, I didn't say he's a tree doctor. Just say he's a tree
Imagine
surgeon.
if you're on, you know when they're like, oh, can I have a doctor? Yeah, whatever. Oh, do we have a surgeon? Yeah, I'm a tree surgeon. You'd be disappointed.
Still cut you up though.
Still would. Pull out the chainsaw.
I see what you did there. Still would. Clever.
Thank you. Two apiece. Liquid have taken their time out. They think that the game can be defined in this first half as well. And
attackers need to locate.
I think it's fair because they should have better anticipations of themselves. They should have better expectations of themselves. Liquid are playing this game, yes, to beat this team, but also because this is the bar for how they need to beat the teams they need to beat. As you said, you're playing for pity points afterwards. You're playing for 5th and 6th place games. You don't want to be doing that. You want to be beating the top 4, the top 3. You want to be number 1, baby. And Liquid cannot be trading rounds to a team that should be, for all intents and purposes, not a walkover, but not this much trouble.
Yeah, they stress themselves out, and yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Liquid should come in here and should be beating 9Z comfortably. You know, 9Z, Emmy, are a team that has been passed around more than a newborn at a family party this season. Everyone's having a bit of them, so I don't know why Liquid are just stressing. I keep using this word stress, but that's what I think it is. Out so much. You know, probably even one of the rounds that they won, the very first one, it was almost a, oh, we nearly messed up there. You know, it hasn't been great from Liquid today.
I think that's that. And, you know, they know it. They've talked about it. They've pulled it back, and they're back on with the drive of it now. We'll see if the timeout is the needed spa moment they've had. They've got the cucumbers on their eyes, taken them off, and okay, it's time to get to work. At this point, I won't even say that it's 9Z doing anything too, extroverted, too insane, too against what they've done before.
Oh, is he not? Hello?
Yeah,
is he fireproof?
Apparently, because he looked everywhere and the fire was there. So that's
Human Torch.
Magical stairs. I mean, it didn't force anything on the other side of the player anyway. They were trying to get the player to have to run out or down and be caught by Maya, and it's kind of a blow here for Liquid. There's the second push. And they don't net the kill on the back of it anyway. Maya does get Tuku, actually. So elsewhere, they're able to get a kill from the swing round. But Yeah, it took an extra 20 seconds, an extra bit of utility that Liquid probably didn't want to have to spend there. So now they don't have that for the final approach itself. Maya's in with some cover, getting control of the cams. They've done some of the groundwork for this site. On the ground itself, will they try and push their way up? And it seems like Nitro really wants to refuse green. Oh, that's unfortunate, but Lender's there to lend a hand.
Very weird approach here for Liquid. Not really interested in going above. They've really went gung-ho again at this horizontal take. Now, it didn't work out for them last time, but they were successful in getting the diffuser down, which I think is the main thing to keep in mind, is Liquid know that they can still plant, you know, pretty safely using the sense, which is still alive. 9Z, they still do have a C4 from the mods. I believe he's currently upstairs, so we can maybe try and drop it through a hole that he's made himself. You can see here he is watching onto the doorway, but that isn't going to help whenever the sense comes in, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Diaz able to get Zhao, and as a 2v4 and Liquid have got so much time as well to play with here, Emmy.
Yeah, at this point now, with Ness getting one more, it just leaves Vicente with everybody and everything left to try and get through. Lender will get this plant secured, unless... No, yes, nothing crazy was going to happen at the end there. Liquid return to form, and again, very driven, wanted to get themselves in towards bottom of green, wanted to get themselves control of the stairs. They did good at forcing the player. You could see there was fully a three-pronged attack there. They had the watch on the downstairs window, they had a bit of approach and watch on the door itself in case they found a way to slip around and go towards the pillar. And then they also had the watch above. Even with the Keybers, yeah, they got away, but somebody else didn't. That was the cover. There's almost that element of why would they intently watching those stairs? It's a great piece of real estate to hold on to as the defenders, fine. But you've still got the control of the verticality. You can still watch over the entire plant. As far as I could see, they still had some confidence elsewhere on the swing around the sort of side of security and on towards the reception area, but either way, that one falls. Team Liquid get themselves a third. If they make this 4, I mean, again, I don't want to be a pessimist, but also is it just making the second half of this game quicker in that element? You've got obviously the limitation, no smoke. They're going to have to be a little bit close in quarters with these fights. They gonna have to sort of play against it here. Nesk back on the Deimos. Not netted too many successes as of yet, but they were very good at getting the kills above. I mean, it was what, a 4 versus 2 that turned into a 1 versus 1 last time?
Yep. So, and Liquids have had a really good round there on their mid-floor attack. But like you mentioned, last time they were down here. A bit of magic from Nesk, really good decision-making individually from him. I think if Liquid can finish this round in very good fashion, then I think we could probably pull the curtain at that stage. I mean, a 4-2 half is quite the mountain for 9Z to climb. See maybe if they can salvage this half anyway and go for the free, but oh, Landa quick on the trigger, takes down Nitro. That's what I've also noticed from 9Z a few times. A lot of their opening deaths have just came from somebody almost trying to play ranked.
I mean, ranked playstyle is both a criticism and sometimes a compliment for the players that need the confidence, but here they've been able to get themselves leveled again. Much more of a growth from the side of 9Z. They've got at least some pressure coming in from the back end. The warehouse is being cracked open, gives them routes and ideas on towards lockers, on towards A, on towards the chance at the lab plant, rather than hitting filtration and hitting that awkward blue set of stairs on the far side. It then puts the pressure a bit onto 9Z to have to respond, and well, as the calls go out and they go for the pinch, how aware of this tight engagement are they? The flash comes around the side. Oh, and they almost lean immediately into it. Caught changing between guns and tucked ready with a super shorty. But is this just to hold it? It's still 2 apiece watching, and there's the free fire. They know they're about to hit a shotgun. We can hear the smokes popping as they go for the plant inside the site. Lender's trying to make ground with Maya on the cover. The Glaz hoping to get lucky, but the plant now being secured, and you've only got a Glaz in smoke as the cover. They drew the attention, put some damage in, and somehow in this scenario, Lender's been able to get the plant in, and 9Z, they try and move back in. There's 2 quick kills, one back the other way for Zhao, but oh, another. Tears the head off of Lender at range and leaves just Daffo, but Daffo's a bit distant. Think about where the kid is. They're going to have to try and bait him. He gets himself tucked. The first corner covered. The second. Getting himself at least far enough away. Daffo's on a full sprint all the way in. Can he make the distance in time? They've hopped up. Perfectly played here by Daffo, but now he has to try and win the engagement, and he does. Another 1 versus 1.
Well, I mean, say what you want about Liquid, but that round again, the individuals that Liquid have, you can see that the talent is there in this team. Again, another fantastically played 1v1 from a Liquid player on that basement, having the clutch up while the fuser's planted. Nesk did it before. Daffo thought, I'll have a bit of that. There is no denying the skill level of this Liquid team. It's just been the inconsistencies which has really hindered their stage, but starting to groove a little bit now. 4-2 half. It's great for them. They get the defense now. 9Z. Over to you. That's the best way to put it.
It's not going to be easy. We've made that point clear enough. You're looking at Lair. You're looking at a map where we've got a lot of work to be done. Yes, it's popular in this region. It's had a lot of play across it. It's the most popular map in this region throughout this split so far, with Club and Bank, I think, coming up second. But it's popular in a region where it's almost... Well, it is actually. Statistically, it's the most balanced coming into this as well. 48% attack win, 52% defense win. It can be intricate, fine, but it's worked out. Right, this region has a very good lair game, which is great because although it's very popular here, it's popular in other regions, especially in the best of 3 section. But at this point, you just... We'll see potentially the struggles put together. Got the Ying, got the coverage from the Capitao, got the chance at maybe getting themselves steadied across here. On towards an ops take, on towards the back end. I would be surprised with this lineup if they try and hit top green. I know, I think need something a little bit more solid to make that work, especially when you got the mirror on the board, but the mirror actually is looking out towards the approach on ops here side, so maybe instead they'll rebuff them on towards the sort of across the walkway. Liquid just gotta sit, just gotta be a bit confident. They've got a lot of structure here. They've got the mirror, they've got the keepers. They can do everything they want to sort of extend the play style. They almost immediately took a lot of pressure there on the player being a bit flirty with Skybridge. I don't think the ace intended to find a fight, but they almost found one.
Unsteady at the moment for 9Z. Opening deaths for them, which is good considering that their lineup is very utility orientated here. Any hit you wouldn't want to see. I think every single operator here has a lot of value if you can keep them alive. But for Liquid, they've pretty strong operators too. They've also got equally a decent amount of util there, of course, with the Izami and also the Wamai. The first death is going to try and get confirmed with the Capitao Bolt. It doesn't look as though it's going to catch Landa, so he is in a position where he could get revived. That is unfortunate that 9Z couldn't secure the kill and still keeps us at a 5v5.
Well, there's some tentative control. They're not happy with it as they get themselves in, get the camera dropped, and get eyes on towards the mirror window in the back of the site. Yes, you might have some of this area locked in, but think about the only single bit of hard breach that they have left outside of the pockets that need to try and get themselves close into work. This last Selma is going to be an important choice. Do we want to try and use it with the safety of not having to throw ourselves into the building, or deploy elsewhere? The Candelas caught outside, roll their way around, and well, now here comes the push into the shove. Nitro gets the first. Nesk gone. They're bleeding and breaking their way across the top of the stairs itself. Tuku's a bit lost with that LMG as to which way he could go to try and find his reach through, but as I said, the range for those Selmas puts the pressure on towards the site. Maya gets one. Brings us back round a little bit, but they've lost, obviously, Lender. They've lost Nesk. They've lost those keeper barricades if they can try and redeploy them, but the Capitao bolts is probably the more expensive item. Going for the plant as Vicente gets himself a second for the round, but Maya going for the swing around the back. Can't quite find Nitro in time. A C4 does, though. 2 versus 1. No kit. They're going to push for the fight, but they're going one at a time. A little bit awkward, but they stick a landing.
That was good. That was really good from 9Z. Keeping their players alive was the main thing to get across. Whenever they have such a heavy util lineup, you don't want to see that util go to waste. And they've done, again, a pretty traditional standard take. You've opened up in towards ops. You've got yourself in towards top mez. You've opened up the default wall. You've then put in pressure towards art, in towards bathroom, using your ying, using your capital. Your ace is obviously set up going for the plant. The main thing is that they had plenty of bodies, and their trade game was really good there, Emmy. You know, if one person died, straight away that person was dealt with. So you have to give credit to 9Z. Their fundamentals are really good there. Liquid couldn't get the opening pick, I think, is what they were kind of hunting for. And as soon as they kind of went into that 2-man deficit, whereas a 5v3, very difficult to pull yourselves out of that. So, yeah, Liquid, top floor not working out for them. Gonna rotate in towards our basement now.
10 seconds remaining.
So we talked about probabilities, chances of pulling things together, and chances of getting themselves in towards playoffs and all of this stuff. And we've talked about how likely it is Liquid will make it. Let's frame the other half of this in that if Liquid don't take points today, their last game, which they would need to take points on, is against Furia. An unbeaten Furia at this moment. I don't want to put anything into the air with that. I just thought people should know the stakes.
Yep.
But also, if you find yourselves dropping rounds and points, especially towards the team that you really need to beat, again, it also just sort of throws away the chance at playoffs. It really puts you in that rough spot of, you know, fine, we beat him, but it was a struggle. Narrow fight through. Skopos is under a lot of heat and a lot of pressure, and they're gonna see if they can try and get themselves out of there. Called, tracked, pressured, found, home. Took a little bit of utility to draw them out, but as Nitro finds Lender, they found themselves a different defender.
Been able to take out one of those roamers in towards that mid floor. Still 2 more, maybe 2.5 if you still consider that Skopos a bit of an issue, which certainly could be. They haven't actually went to destroy the shell, so Maya still has potential here. A lot of util actually used in towards the basement side of things, I believe, in towards yellow, but still these roamers that they're trying to deal with. That's the last Okabe call being used, but nobody from 9Z really wants to make a move. Are they just trying to flood in towards the bomb site? I don't know. This is very weird.
They're either side of this fight. Great work from Daffo to isolate that, and the Deimos, not entirely sure what they were doing, but it wasn't the right thing. Daffo does now get caught. Surely they'll get executed. If they can get one more, which they don't. Another 4 versus 2 on this site. We've seen this twice before. We've seen both of them end up in 1 versus 1. So Diaz is gonna get a great pick here. And I talked about this position before, right? You set yourself up on this set. You make sure that if anybody else tries to drift close, you have a good chance to get an engagement before you drift away. He's got that. So he doesn't have to drift away right now. The pressure will be sort of put forward against him. They'll talk about it, and it's brought 9Z into a little bit of a standstill. There's the reveal.
Blast drone.
Yeah, shoot the pipe as well, and instead steps back in. Sort of says, you're not chasing me, so I don't have to leave. They're holding and waiting. A narrow angle through the Kiba. Doesn't quite net anything more than a blow, but look at the time, Demo. 15 seconds. They've got to go for the plant. They have nothing outside of flashes to try and obfuscate it and what might be in the pocket of Nitro, so they're just going to send it. Nitro does. Gets 1, gets 2, Nitro! Spinning and killing.
Well, this is quite the turn in the tale that we didn't expect to see. 9Z, but all squared up, 4 rounds apiece. Liquid, what's going on here, guys? What's happening?
I mean, think about they've used their timeout a long time ago as well.
Used it around 4, around 5, something like that. This is Not looking too good for Liquid. And another thing as well with Liquid, don't forget about who they play tomorrow. You know,
That's what I was saying before. It's
such
horrible.
a dreaded game. Like,
If
really
they-
now...
If they don't get points today, and they're stuck on 11, they'll probably end the season on 11.
Seconds remaining.
It's not impossible, but we said the same things here about what Liquid beating 9Z and 9Z beating Liquid. It's 4-4. The game's not over,
Attackers must locate
but it
and defuse
shouldn't
the
be
bomb.
this scoreline.
You're a hopeless case.
A big worry for Liquid.
Surrogate deployed.
They need to win this game. They need to get things moving, but right now 9Z, just it feels very vibe-based Siege. You know? Just playing off each other, saying, you know, if I push this, you come with me? Yeah, I'll come with you. And they just trade kills. I'm looking at Liquid in the way that they're defending. It feels a lot kind of solo. You know, a lot of individuals playing Siege rather than a team. Very little trades. Not really playing around each other, all very segregated. Liquid, what are you going to do on this mid floor now? I mean, for 9Z, they've got a similar approach. They've got the Sense in, they've got the Capita. They can equally just try and flood in through the door and go for the plant the same way that Liquid did.
Ready to thread the needle in the fight. On towards Daffo. Daffo's been able to have those moments where they sort of land back in. It's not that everybody from Liquid or nobody from Liquid has sort of been present, right? All of them have almost got themselves on even KDs. The problem is, as you've said, there's just not been that pickup, that sort of coverage game. Think about those 2-1 versus 1 rounds that Liquid won earlier. If they had gone the other way, it would be, what, a 6-2? You're looking at an absolute wash of a game. And instead, we're in this position. 9Z, they've been able to sort of fight themselves through. Even with those 2-1 versus 1s going away from them, which they were on the deficit before and they almost made work out. Here they're even. This has been a long time without an opening kill. It doesn't feel like they've set themselves in on the pressure. They've been able to, as you said, vibes themselves in, but a bit of feeling the pressure. The first call comes out. Good timed utility. Just the response towards it. And they're ready in the watch and the wait, but I mean, at this point, they're trying to hope that they get this first kill. The pressure is coming in quite laterally against Lender. There's Tuku getting Maya, though. That MVP, that star player gone, and a C4 ripped out the door. Won't quite get anybody, but it does remove a section of the light wall. 30 seconds. 9 players still stood. Blinds come through. Lender still in a little island, a pocket of safety. Diaz has stepped himself up to watch the stairs from the opposite swing as Sente takes the next blow of damage. 20 seconds. And a bit of ground has traded hands, but not much more than that. And there's the dash against it. But Lender, oh, he's still sat here. They've got the pings. There's a bulletproof behind the light wall, but it's not quite getting the full confidence. Goes for the reload and gets the easy pickup there. 10 seconds left. And there's Lender just locking it down. This single player in this position that seems to go unknown and unchecked has defined this round. And Liquid get there first in a while, but you can see the sort of relief there on their faces.
Why is Will not pushing into the breach while his teammates doing that? I don't get. Will just sat out there. Could have easily have walked in like an inch and killed that mirror. Like, so easily. Very weird. Very strange. Well, Liquid needed that. Gets them back on track. Still a long way to go yet. 2 rounds. They want to close it out in regular time, which obviously is what they need. All Liquid needs just a win. That's them into playoffs.
Well, they're not there yet.
Need to locate and defuse as
Bit of
many bombs
distance
as they
left
can.
to go. And Liquid, they've at least got themselves that one. At this point, still not a million miles away here from 9Z. They've been able to build themselves back in from the back foot before. They've already sort of driven as much success as I think they've had throughout most of the rest of the season. As you get their split nose idea of it, it's what, 6 total attack round wins they've had throughout the season so far. They can tack 2 more onto there. They could get more than half of their total for the rest of this game,
Left before insertion.
which I think says a lot about the possibilities of where they can go.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Liquid. Bit of a hands-off approach. The Echo instead. They've got the pressure on towards the time. I think they've realized that 9Z sometimes are taking a bit of time to cook their approaches here, Demo. Step themselves in, play with the Fenrir mines, play with the delay on the swings, play with the sort of making them unsteady on the approach, and then in that final sort of blow, as they had Lender in that off position, holding on and surviving it and getting an easy pickup against that bulletproof, an Echo drone. That's another piece of utility where if it hasn't gone checked and is hidden away, can define the end of the round, or at least add a huge amount of panic. And panic can buy you a win. The first Candelas start to clatter across the back end. Another immediate approach on towards Ops. But no catch yet, no usage of any of those Selmas. Instead, it's actually the drone on the back end that's just get a read and peel away.
Yeah, just very similar to first time that we were here. Trying to force their way in through Ops into Mez. Get that breach open. You can see all three Selmas still with Nitro. Main thing, like I mentioned for 9Z, it's just stay alive. Keep those utility operators up as fast as you can. Goes one of the flame arrows just to clear Nask away, and that will give them now ease of access in. That's a good start from 9Z. Using just that early bit of util to establish a foothold inside of the map. But Liquid haven't lost anyone as of this moment. Still got plenty of util as well. Got the smokes, of course, which will be very important for stopping that default plant position. And to get Nitro in, open up that wall. Really, I think the wing con that Liquid are going to try and lean into here, Emmy, is going to be Lenda on that Echo. You know, that's being brought in as another form of plant denial, so if they can almost make it so Lenda's going to be hidden, why do I speak? Why do I speak? Why do I speak?
I like how I spoke about it for a while, nothing happened. You speak about it, and they're like, oh yeah, we got to kill that guy. Because you know the right moments. At this point,
you can get away with it, I can't.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not fair.
Well, let's see what happens now as I talk about how important those smoke canisters will be. 40 seconds, and Daffo is the long-arm denial for what is a very well-proposed plant. They know exactly what control they want. They know exactly where this plant position is going to go down. Nest can try and push their way across because they still have the Keeper in there as the first smoke onto that exact position. With only 25 seconds at this point, you're going to have to do or die, or tank and take a little bit more of that damage. There's one more smoke canister still left in pocket. I'm not sure if one has been thrown and deployed. There goes the last. And there it goes for the coverage on that position. So they're really just going to try and wait for this for the final moment. And this could just be Nesk with a swing that defines it. Again, hidden in the middle of the site. Does get traded out by Nitro. And now they're going for the plant itself. But with the damage done underneath, can they just make sure that they cannot stop this being converted and confirmed? There's the catch on a plank watch. There's Nitro getting out the door and getting a kill for his trouble. Okay, Will. Now tucked in close. There's only 3 shots left in that shotgun, but he's going to hope that they can sort of connect. There's the cover of Nitro. Again, a triple for the player, and Will gets one more. That is 2 of the bottom 3 rated players in the league at the start of this play day, and look at them soar.
Even Nitro said, oh, a little bit so-so, not my greatest. What do you mean, not you? What do you mean so-so? What does that mean? Oh, dear. Liquids. It's just more of the same,
Your bombs from being defused.
I guess.
It's a really, okay, you and I haven't cast SAL this split, right? We've been all around the world, but we've watched it, but we haven't been able to get into it. There's a different element. So we can't talk entirely about where we've seen 9Z struggle on that intrinsic level. Others can. But you just look at that round and you compare it with statistics and where the struggle is. As I said, fine. 2 of the bottom rated players, all 3 of them being 9Z players, by the way, are pulling off those sort of moments, pulling off those sort of rounds, triple kills, +4 on the KD. As Fox said before we came into this, they're all close to -30. But you've also got Vicente getting the opening kill. He hasn't got a single one of those throughout the split. He was 0-11 on entry. And now he's finding that game. And now he's finding that element. And it's really hard to judge if this is Liquid dropping the ball and going into that Liquid element, or if it's 9Z stepping up and going into their own element. But whatever it is...
It's because we're casting them.
It's maybe... I don't want to say that because I don't want Liquid fans to come for me.
Oh, they can, by all means, if they want to have a bit of beef for me. I'm FaZe, so I don't really care.
Your FaZe clan?
Yeah, always have been.
Five apiece. Now Liquid, they just need the win. They just need the win to lock it in. But this could be 9Z's first points in a very, very, very long time.
And it will be deserved. I think the Siege, especially on their attacks, have been good. I think even if you look at their defenses as well.
Oh, yeah.
Three, I'd probably say about 3 of the rounds were really close as well. You know, could have won it. So I would go as far to say that 9Z have probably been the more dominant team. Liquid, very fortunate that they had 2 really good 1v1 players on their attacks, help them out, or else this game could have been done already.
Oh, it would be. And, you know, it was... Think about when the plants went down. Think about how close it was. Think about how close those 1 versus 1s were. They've really got to step in. There's an arrow angle fought by Diaz there. He's just going to get forced a little bit further back. They're being quite aggressive and holding on towards the warehouse, but they've got themselves a decent crossfire here. So there can't really be too much of a ground taken by 9Z without exposing them to somebody else, but they do get the down onto 1, but Lender finds Tuku in the meantime. Daffo could potentially be recollected because they're so aggressive. Diaz swings around and Maya gets 1 more. And I mean, think of the utility that we heard being sent across that round. That was absolutely everything here from the Candelas. They've got Daffo back up. Full send warehouse, but 9Z got packaged and shipped.
Well, all by himself. Gonna get cooked alive as he's went for the backstab. And it hasn't worked. A flawless for Liquid. Now Liquid have done something very, very clever. You looked at 9Z, seen their attack, they wanted to go horizontal. That's because Liquid put a lot of vertical pressure, you know, they had roamers upstairs in towards that mid floor, even in towards that very, very top floor. So they thought, if they're all going to roam, let's just walk in and overwhelm them with the sheer man advantage that we have. But Liquid caught on to that immediately. They had all 5 players downstairs fighting inside that warehouse. And I've mentioned before, horizontal takes don't work if you're facing all 5 players in the bottom floor. And that's the trap that 9Z fell into. 9Z could have easily have went upstairs, done a traditional attack, went through all the motions with the util. But no, they've played into where Liquid want them to be. And Liquid cleaned house.
They could have guaranteed themselves 1 point. Not enough. They need the win. They'll take 3 pretty desperately, but as I said before, I think 2 would confirm them as well. They could still get the overtime win. But either way, Liquid fans, I'm sure you're edge of your seats, biting your nails. Other idioms about being nervous. Back towards a site that has been not a great one for attackers. I think it's the fairest way to put it. It's sets itself in repeatedly on towards bunks and briefings where the defenders have just kind of been a bit happy. There was that one Liquid round that took it earlier on, but otherwise down to the split. 9Z. There was a bit of confusion. It was obviously the first one that was lost by them on their attack on the second half itself, and until that point it was the cleanest. Just need to see if they can try and get some control demo.
Big breath, everyone.
Big breath.
Big breath. What we need is who knows where this one's going to go. Now, 9Z, the last time they were here, they just had an issue with somebody just sat in the bomb site. You know, they struggled almost with the kind of storage hold that you're seeing from the smoke right now, where he's got the mirror window looking in towards our 6 room, kind of in towards Master Office as well. But he's still going to have storage available to play because, again, that's a great position for the smoke where you've got that kind of tight corridor where the shotgun's going to be really good. You can obviously smoke them out as well. Where he's playing right here. Nice and simple. Also, keep an eye on some of the verts. I don't really know how 9Z want to go about this because they need to deal with this smoke if they want to do anything in terms of going for the plant. Now, Landa, he's been picked off. Don't know where from. Looks to be an exterior kill, because currently Vicente is outside. Are they going to go for this?
I mean, they have a chance. Remember, we talked about who it was that sort of won the round for them, and it was Lenda on the back end. Just hiding in the site, ready for the final sort of 30 seconds of it, and pulls things together. Coverage of the light walls, they'll hear the flashes, they'll know the pressure's coming around, they've got a shotgun they want to swing down, but they're just trying to make sure they cannot comfortably watch deep underneath. Vicente is far and far away, but the Solace here is a good pickup. That'll give you the full reveal on what they're doing and where they're trying to get it done. At this point, slipping their way in, but nobody's forced directly off the vertical, and now the plant being confirmed. Just tuck round on the far side. They can't quite get the angle, but Ness does at least find one, and there's the second follow through. Diaz does get the kill from that verticality, finds the angle, and now, what, 20 seconds, 4 versus 3. You don't have the verticality, you have to do something. Vicente gets himself a great take on towards Daffo, forces that player off. Will they try and push themselves across the verticality, looking for the next? Oh, with the secondary as well at this point, but can't quite get Diaz. 10 seconds, 1 player left. Liquid on the precipice of confirmation. There it is. Another 7-5. A road walked the longest possible way in regulation. Still work to be done for Liquid. And a good effort from 9Z, unfortunately, still leaves them without their first points of the season.